Hi guys, I'm Michael Choi, and today I'm going to share with you auction day strategies. Some of the strategies that I'm going to share with you, I've shared with other auctioneers and directors of throughout Australia and New Zealand, and they've implemented this stuff, and it's made a big change to their business. So there's some really out of the box thinking here that can change your business altogether. Okay, so get ready. Make sure you watch the end, because at the end I share a lot of good nuggets. Okay. And the auctioneer is the one to get the reserve price. Now, the auctioneer is the person that gets the reserve price in our office, because they're in that position of power, that position of knowledge. The owners put us on a pedestal, so the auctioneer is the person that always gets the reserve price. The auctioneer is to write down the run-to or the referral figure and the spotter to find out what that run-to figure is before we start, and they smile. So I get the reserve price, I'm the auctioneer, I get the reserve price, and I put down a run-to figure as well. And then the spotter, who is the person that is also the penciler next to me, they look at that, smile, and they know what that is. So that they know what's going on, and during the auction they know when they can and can't run into the house to find out. Now, so there's a reserve price, and then there's a run-to. A run-to figure is a figure that the owner says, hey, we're not at my reserve, but at least come inside to chat to us. Now, there's key questions and dialogue to get these strategic figures from vendors to make sure that their auction runs well. So that's in the video just before this one, so make sure you watch that. Those are two major components of our auctions. Reserve, how to get a strategic reserve, and a strategic run-to figure. The penciler or the spotter to have their writing hand closest to the auctioneer. The reason for this is if I'm left-handed and there's the auctioneer, I'm writing like this, then I have to do this. But if I'm right-handed and my right hand's closest to the auctioneer, I've got the paper here and I'm writing this way the auctioneer can see. Okay? 1% is they make a difference. This is good, guys. This is the one that are a really good one. A, B, and C, we have what's called the alphabet. So I don't start an auction until I say, hey guys, do you have the alphabet? And they go, yep, we've got the alphabet. Then I start the alphabet as an A buyer, a B buyer, and a C buyer. So let's just say that the house is roughly worth 600,000. We might start at 400,000, for example, and A buyer will be 400, the B buyer will be 430, and the C buyer will be 460. Okay? So 400, 430, 460, A, B, and C. That's what having the alphabet does. Before I actually start the auction is I say, who's going to give me an opening bid? When I call for the opening bid, bang, 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 it happens really quickly. There's no murmuring, there's no, oh, no one's bidding, who's going to bid? This is instant, okay? And it's a key point of difference at our auctions. We get bid straight away, and that's great when prospective vendors are watching one company do their auctions and then watch us do their auctions, okay? So that's important. And secondly, if there's no murmuring, there's no second guessing about the house, there's energy, there's hype. So we get the alphabet, and the way you get the alphabet is you start at a lower figure, and that way you can get an approval from an A, a B, and a C. Okay. The spotter, the person that is doing the penciling as well, they're the person that does the run-to or the referral to the vendor, not the opening agent working the crowd. And the reason for this is, one, well, the spotter's closest to the house and closest to the auctioneer, so they can communicate. But the biggest reason is because the opening agent, the person working the crowd, is the person that has the relationship with the buyers, so they should stay with the buyers, they should work the buyers, okay? Too many times I see opening agents, the one that's working the crowd to run to and see if the vendors will put it on the market. You're getting paid to work the market, not to work the vendor, so work the market. Get the best price that you can for the vendor. Nobody is allowed to announce that the property is on the market until after the auctioneer has announced it. So even if we're well above reserve, I might not announce that it's on the market, and that's because I might have an intention to pass the property in above reserve. And I'll talk about this later on, but basically only the auctioneer is allowed to announce that it's on the market. Then once I've announced it, then everyone else can follow on. The spotter, the person that does the run-to, has one of three outcomes that they have to communicate to the auctioneer. Not verbally, they have to write it down, because I'm busy doing the auction, so they need to communicate with me in writing in one of three ways. One, with an N, and that is a no. That stands for no. This is the reserve still stays exactly as it was. One is the other, number two is a yes, or a Y, I should say. And that means that it's now on the market, and whatever figure it is, it's on the market, okay? And the third one is a new figure, so that dollar sign with a new figure, and that means that this is the new reserve price. Okay, so an N, which is not on the market, a Y, which is on the market, or a dollar figure, which is the new reserve price. Positive pass in. Too many times I've seen properties passed in, it's just gloomy and doomy, and you're not going to get listings from that. But I've actually got listings from houses that I've passed in, and people thought that was one of the best auctions I've ever seen. And I'm thinking, I didn't even sell the property, but I left it with energy. And so how you do that is you say, buyers, neighbours and spectators, thank you very much for your attention, your attendance. I'm sure you'd all agree the owners did a great job. Let's show our support, let's thank them for their efforts, let's give them a nice round of applause and say thank you. And we do that, and everyone's clapping, everyone's smiling, and you'll see the neighbours, they love it. They're like, oh, that was a nice little, they didn't sell the property, but there was a nice little ending, and people walk away smiling. You want to leave them with a last impression, okay? That counts. Really good, you'll get listings from that. The auctioneer should always personally thank everyone that's bid, at least the bidders. So even if they're not the person that buys, don't just walk in, do the paperwork, go to handshake everyone and say thank you for coming, we'll try and help you find something else. There's courtesy, they're your future clients, they're your walk-in billboards, okay? Have some courtesy to say thank you. Alright, here's the nuggets, ready? I'm speeding through this. Hopefully you got most of that, not all of that. Okay, concepts. The auctioneer is to only refer after the spot is referred. So the auctioneer is the last resort, but the auctioneer will refer, and they're the last resort, and the reason they're on that pedestal. But we don't want to stop the auction. We want to keep the auction running, so the spotter is the person that refers. Last resort, we pause the auction and go inside. Upbids, we're always talking to the buyers about upbidding. For example, we could be in increments of 10,000, 500, 510, 520, 530, 540. We're increments of 10,000, we always say, so 10's appear inadequate, perhaps 20 would be a lot more effective. What do you say? Let's make it 20 instead of asking for 10s. Or his 10 hasn't worked on you, so I can't see your 10 working on him. Let's make it 20. Such a crucial moment in the auction, I suggest your angle B show strength, sir. Let's make it 20. What do you say, 20? And when you do this, that's your job. You're supposed to be getting as much as you can for your vendors. Secondly, the prospective vendors in the crowd love it. They think it's great. You're working it. And yeah, it's your job, okay? Bids, okay, think about the next bid. So, this is the person that's the highest bidder at the moment, and this is the person that we're working, trying to get the next bid from. We've got someone always talking to the person that has the bid, and we're telling them, okay, I want you to think about your next bid that you're going to bid. So probably they're going to bid at this, the person against you is going to bid at this, but you need to think about what you're going to, what's your counter bid going to be, what's your reaction going to be, and you need to think about it quickly. You don't want for them to turn the tables and swing around the momentum. You need to be ready, so we need to start forward thinking right now. And the advantage of that is we're giving the buyer strategy, so we're helping them the buyer, but secondly, there's they anticipate what they're about to bid, so the auction just runs a lot smoother, okay? Above reserve, bid on top. So before I sell a property, I always ask, or try and always ask, the highest bidder to bid on top of themselves. That's if I haven't put it on the market, I should say. So, say we're at 550, the reserve's 520, I'll walk up to the 550 buyer, even though I've got a price that the owner wants, because the owner wants 520 and we're at 550, I'll walk up to them and say, look, the owner would really like more, which is true, and can you give me 570? And they say, oh, no. I say, what can you give me? Can you give me 565? No, but I'll give you 560. Okay, I'll take that. Let me go talk to the owner. I'll run inside, talk to the owner. They'll say, put it on the market. Then I'll go out and I'll put it on the market. So before I put it on the market, first try and close once, twice, third time to see if there's anyone else playing bluff. If there is no one else playing bluff, I'll walk up to the highest bidder and see if there's more in them. Because that way, at least if you put it on the market and there's no more bids, you know that you've got the best price out on the floor for your vendor, okay? You've got to try to extract the best price for your client. If you're under the reserve, you negotiate on the floor. So what I mean by that is, last resort you want to pass in, right? So you're at 550, the reserve is 600. You try and close that gap during the auction. A normal auction for me takes 14 minutes, but if it means taking 20, 30 minutes, I'll do that so I can negotiate it on the floor, then put it on the market on the floor, and the advantage of that is you'll flush out any buyers that are there. So you want to negotiate, running in and out of the house, talking to the buyer and the vendor, and see if you can get the deal done on the floor, and then put it on the market during the auction, okay? Pass in above reserve. You'll pass in. It's okay to pass a property in above reserve as long as you haven't announced that it's on the market. And the reason why you would do that is if you think that highest bidder has more money in them. So you've already trial closed. You've walked up to them to see if they will bid on top of themselves, and if that fails and you still think they've got more money in them, talk to the owner, tell them the pros and cons of passing it in, and see if you can get more money. And the reason why you do that is the situation that you do that in is when there's a slow bidder and a quick bidder. Generally, the quick bidder has more money, so if there's more money in them, the best interest for your client, the person that pays you, is to pass it in and see if you can extract that higher figure. Quick and slow bidders. The misconception is that you all want quick bidders. You don't want quick bidders. You want even bidders. You want a level playing field. You want the same bidders. Generally, you don't get that though. You get quick bidders and slow bidders. And you want to slow down the quick bidders so they're not intimidating or scaring the slow bidders. And you want to speed up the slow bidders to add energy and vibrancy, momentum to the auction. Pass in. Still sign up. Okay, so you've passed the property in, you've gone inside, you're negotiating back and forth between the owner and the highest bidder. Worst case scenario, don't let them walk. If you can't close the deal, don't let them walk. At least sign them up. And this does a couple of things. It pulls the buyer. The most important thing, it pulls the buyer off the market. They won't look at a house for a couple of days because they think there's still opportunity to buy the house that they want to buy. So you pull them off the market, and secondly, you can massage that deal through. You've got something in writing. So as long as it's realistic or close enough to market value or close enough to what the owner wants, sign it up. Okay guys, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope there's a few nuggets in there that you can start implementing straight away. These are key strategies that have made our auction clearance rates a lot higher than the norm, and that are getting us leads in the area because they're seeing our effectiveness. I'm Michael Choi, thanks for watching. Cheers.